Okay, welcome to In the Geek Room, and the other day I picked up this, The Death of Superman, animated. Now this is the film I've been waiting for a few years. I said a few years, I've been waiting for a decent interpretation of this since the early to mid-90s. 93 I think, if I read it right the other day, we're talking 25 years at least since Superman 75 Doomsday came out. So wanting Superman, The Death of Superman, or as the full title is the DC Universe movie, The Death of Superman. I'll show the camera again. Now, this is one of my all-time favourite comic books, along with Dark Phoenix. Admittedly, I've only read the Dark Phoenix in the last 10 years. So I've lived with this story, the storyline, Death of Superman, Doomsday, whatever you want to call it, for over 25 years, or around 25 years. So, I've always wanted to see it. If you like comics or books, you always have how you do them in your mind. And so when they did the big screen outing of Batman vs Superman and had the Doomsday as being pretty much a 20 to 40 minute tag on it, if you're including the 3-hour deluxe extended cut, it was very disappointing, and the whole storyline, the story arc of it just being a tag on when it should have been a 2-hour film. But again, showing the Death of Superman. Now, it's the disc itself. It's got a digital download, which is good, and a few featurettes. Death of Superman, The Brawl That Topped Them All, from the DC Comic Vault, 2 bonus cartoons. I started watching them, switched them off. They didn't really go anywhere. They hardly from the vaults. They look more modern. I'd have preferred if they'd had like an original one. I know they did. Never seen it, but a version of Doomsday before. Could have tagged that on. That would have made more sense. Documentaries really aren't that good on it. And a little sneak peek of Reign of the Superman, which so you know what's coming next. Featurettes and everything really could have been done better. For bonus material, a digital comic would have been nice. Put on Superman 75. That would have been what I'd have done. Or the original animated version of the Doomsday story. They would have been like good things to show progression, or But that's what I'd have done. The featurettes are really not that good. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the cartoon, switched it off. But the movie itself, it goes to prove that you don't really need to know these characters as you go into it. We're at a point with superhero films that you see superhero team-ups, you see characters that got superpowers. You really don't need to go into the origin story. You can literally go straight into Death of Superman without having any knowledge of him. Superman, the other thing that really got me a little bit confused at the start is I was trying to figure out until it was explained what Lois and Clark's relationship was. Does she know he's Superman? Where are they? Are they married? Are they dating? What? But they explain it. There's a few. They put a few. There's the markers in to set up the reign of the Superman. I like the way they were pretty much faithful to the comic when I remember reading the comic series. As I read them originally. I collected the comics for years, and so it is actually very loyal to the source material, which I really liked. And the way that spoilers, the way that the Justice League are taken out before it's left to Superman to actually defeat Doomsday, and it was superb. I really enjoyed it. It's better than any of the DC Universe films, or whatever they're calling them these days. This was the film that they could have translated perfectly to the big screen. You didn't need to do the origin stories for your Wonder Woman, your Batman, your Aquaman, your Cyborg, because the Death of Superman proves you can just go into it with the characters there, because people accept in the culture now that these characters are, super characters exist in the realms of their worlds. So you really don't need the origin stories, or you don't need to be bogged down with it for the DCEU, because there's been enough out there. So it actually it worked perfectly by hitting the ground running. I don't know much about Cyborg or Aquaman or Wonder Woman or the Flash. Really not interested in it. I'm interested in the character of Superman, and I like Batman as well. And Batman is not put in there for the sake of Batman. Batman is actually there for a reason. So everything actually worked perfect with the storyline and the storytelling right up to the actual death of Superman. It is genuinely a good film. And I think, if I'm right, the runtime is 82 minutes, if I remember reading on it. So they managed to do in 81 minutes, 81 minutes, managed to do in 81 minutes what the Batman vs Superman couldn't do in 3 hours, what the Justice League movie couldn't pull off. That storyline should have been the Justice League movie, or at least the Dawn of Justice. They could have pulled it off. They did it in the animated one. So this is what is needed if you've been put off by the DCEU. Watch Death of Superman. It'll restore your faith that DC can actually make great movies. Now, that being said, the only thing that really annoyed me about it was, well, not so much the ending, but there's parts at the end, I don't want to spoil it too much, but they could have left for the reign of the Superman. I accept that in the credits they do set up, and there's parts earlier in the films where they do set up where they're going for reign of the Superman. But there's a few bits just post Death of Superman. There's one scene in particular that I really thought should have been wiped and left for reign of Superman, because you know what's going next. It should have been left, like I said. But that being said, that's just a small gripe. For the majority of the 81 minutes, you're looking at a genuinely great animated feature film. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and if this is what DC can do with animated, prove you can translate it. I hope they prove that they can try and translate it to the big screen. The ship's passed, we're doing a live action version of it now because of Batman vs Superman and where the Justice League are. But like I said, if anyone from DC is watching, convert that sort of thing to your big screen. It actually works better than what your content that's been put out so far. So I really enjoyed it. That's another In the Geek Room review, Death of Superman. Go check it out. It is enjoyable, and see you all soon in another In the Geek Room.